And we will continue this afternoon in Jackson County with the Pisgah Eagles and Coach Luke Pruitt, his 5th season there for the Pisgah Eagles. Coach, good to see you again. Good to see you guys. And Coach, if you'd let them introduce themselves, or you introduce them, and then some opening comments, would appreciate it.
I want to introduce them because I don't brag on them enough. I want to brag on them real quick. To my right is J.D. Martin. He'll be a senior for us. He plays on the offensive line and at linebacker. He's a 2-time All-State player for us. He started since he was a freshman. You know, we had a youth movement a few years ago. He was one of them that's been in it from the get-go. All these guys y'all find out today are very vocal. Not really, but they do what they're supposed to every day, and JD is the prime example of that leadership to my right. I've been looking at you, Jeff. But next is J.J. Williams. J.J. is also a 2-way starter for us. J.J. will be a junior. He plays on the offensive line and defensive line for us. He started since he was in the 8th grade. So at the same time, he was part of the youth movement for us. And next is Legion McQuarrie, plays running back and corner for us. Legion started since he was a freshman for us. He started out as a rotational guy on at running back, and I think his first ball game he had 180 yards, and pretty quick he became a starter. Started getting a lot more reps for us. But all these guys are multiple year starters, and that's why they're with us today because of the work ethic. Kind of touch base from last year. We had a really successful year. We were 11-3 and got beat in the semifinals. And we have a lot of guys coming back. We've talked in the offseason about trying to get past that point. Last year's behind us. This is a new season. And the dynamic of the team is different this year. Other guys are going to have to step up. The roles have changed. And these guys up here's roles have changed because they shuffled on the offensive line. But we're looking to try to go beyond last season.
Well, Coach, that was going to be my question. 11-win season for the Pisgah Eagles. I think that was the first time, like in 20 years, the Pisgah had won 11 games. And that had to create some excitement. Also, it created expectation for this season. Yes, sir. With success, you have expectations, and that's something that we've mentioned to the guys about. You know, everybody expects it now. You know, what do we got to do to get beyond the point that we were last year? And, you know, that's something that I'm going to enjoy last year. It's behind us, but, you know, we were behind in multiple ball games and had to come from behind. You know, Lakeston, we were behind, had to come from behind versus Collinsville in the 4th quarter. You know, we were down 2 touchdowns at Hatton in the first round. And we had, in the second round, Southeastern had kicked 3 consecutive onside kicks to get, you know, we had it put away, and, you know, and then beating Aliceville at our place, hanging on for the win. You know, those games are ones that they'll always remember, but, you know, that's behind us, and we've got to continue to build on our success from last season going forward.
Well, Coach, you know, and those kind of games fell your way. Naturally, that's effort. You know, it's not luck, it's effort, because the kids make their luck. Well, now the expectations are high. Now the bullseye are on you guys. You're not the underdog anymore. Now the bullseye is on you, and you know, to raise to get to that next level, you've got to raise your level of play. Do you think you guys are ready for that?
Yes, sir. I think we are. We just got to respect every opponent we play and come out from the start and get going, and don't have second half comebacks and stuff like that. Just show how good we are from the start and finish the game.
Yeah, we just need to keep our intensity during practice and not let any stuff slip. Just try as best we can and just play the hard as we can, because we'll have that bullseye on our back now that we have done as good as we have and then the expectations we got now. But as long as we just keep playing together and try as hard as we can and just not let any subtle stuff slip or anything, just do as much as we can.
Yeah, we need to start, like, shooting our bullets first half, make sure that we keep the intensity through the second half. Yeah.
Coach, you very similar situation than Coach Davis was at Geraldine. On paper, good thing we don't play the games on paper. Last year, people looked at Mars Hill, they thought they were going to destroy Geraldine. People looked at your game, Aliceville, they thought, well, that's a good season for Pisgah, but it's probably coming to an end. When you win a game like that, what does it mean to your program and your community?
Going back before that game, we go down to Montgomery, and Coach Minifield said, "Have you seen them on film yet?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He went, "Phew." But anyways, it is a program changing. You know, those are ones that you're always going to remember. You know, they were up there from the ones that have played before in the games in the past, the old teams that these guys have heard about, their dads might have played on. But that one's etched up there with it as well. And, you know, that's something that, you know, there was excitement, you know, going into the semifinal game. There were people reaching out from all over that were former alumni that were, you know, hey, watching from Florida, watching from wherever, excited about what's taking place. You know, and that's something that I tell the guys as well, that, you know, people are watching, people that are from our community that's moved to other places. So, yes, those games will always be remembered when we're all gone. And that's what we tell them, you know, all the time. It's more than individuals and more than me. You know, they represent the P. It's on their the helmet and the community that they represent every day. So that, you know, it always be bigger than them.
I'll ask two questions, one for Coach Pruitt, one for the players. First of all, Coach, after getting to call that first matchup with Fife, I turned around the very next day and come right back up to Pisgah to watch some Pee Wee action. And I know that a lot of coaches, sometimes they don't look at investing from the top all the way down even to the elementary kids, but your community has really seemed to come behind not only what your varsity program is doing, but just as Pisgah as a whole. Could you talk about that, what it means to have that kind of community support, to get it really from the beginning and the ground up?
Well, I guess it's unique because I've got boys that's in the program, and I had boys when we first started. But these guys, Legion was in Pee Wees, and they won it the first year we switched into the league we were in, and these guys were in our middle school. But I have the ability and the time to invest in our guys because eventually they're going to be up there anyways. And it helps that I have boys sprinkled through the program. But on day one, the guy that's over our league, he's one of my assistant coaches. He said, "I'll help you any way I can help you. I'll be the Pee Wee coach or whatever you want me to be." And I brought him on. And all those guys that are on my staff, they all called at different times along the way about, hey, you know, we're a Pisgah alumni. You know, Coach Gilbert was not with me originally. He called me and said, "Any way I can help you, I'm on board." Coach Kirby originally wasn't with us, and he said, "Hey, you know, I'm a Pisgah Eagle. You know, I support you anyway." So, and those guys are involved in the Pee Wee program, and you know, our youth success carries over to our middle school, and our middle school success carries over to our high school. So yes, you know, I wanted it from the ground up, and there was talent there, and we're getting to reap that reward now for the people that were put the time into it through the Pee Wee program when these guys were coming up. So, but yes, I guess I'm a little more hands-on because I've got one on the A team, I've got one on the B team, and next year I have one on the C team. So my Saturdays are full. But you know, we moved up there, and you know, we want to be hands-on in everything. You know, not just football, but all sports.
And for the players, Coach mentioned earlier in his opening that talked about a lot of times during the season you found yourselves getting down and having to come back and proving some things to yourselves. What did you learn about yourselves in those types of games where you had to fight back that you've been able to carry into the offseason to build off of and be better?
I feel like we learned that we can overcome adversity. That was a big point throughout the entire season, was adversity. Pre-game meal, we'd always talk about it. We'd always have a message about adversity. Just how to overcome and keep fighting and never stop.
Yeah, I think we really learned not to give up on ourselves, and that we can do these we can go through these hard battles and come back from these deficits that we're at, or like Coach Pruitt mentioned, the 3 onside kicks, whatever it is, just to believe in ourselves and have the confidence that we can come back and do it for a team.
Yeah, we learned that we are able to put up a fight against these bigger schools than we are, and that we're up there with them and we can play with them.
Coach, I know you brought these 3 young men with you today. They're leaders of the team, but you've got an experienced team coming back. Could you talk about the experienced players that are coming back, some All-State players that are coming back for this year's Pisgah team, because that's why it's creating all this excitement in the community?
Yes, sir. We returned 8 on offense. One young man I'm going to mention first, we lost him to an accident earlier in the summer. He was a starter. His name was Grant Smith. He started at Y for us. He would have been a 4-year starter on both sides of the football. But we have 8 back on offense, starting with our signal caller, Mason Holcomb. He'll be a 4-year guy. He threw for over 2,000 yards last year. We tell him all the time, it's your show, He makes the calls on the offensive line. The only one that overrules him is Mason. And, it's his show back there. So you got Jacob Kirby. It's a 3-year guy on the outside at wideout for us. And also starts at safety. Jacob had over 800 yards receiving last year. If he'd have caught all the interceptions that he dropped, he'd have made All-State. He'd have been a first-teamer. I give him a hard time about that all the time. Returned Jeffrey in the slot. He rushed for over 500 yards as a freshman, played outside linebacker for us, made 60-something tackles. We returned Luke Gilbert on the outside, who was a first-team All-State selection. He also doubles at safety for us. Luke had over 1,000 yards receiving, had close to 70 tackles at the safety position. And then we go to Legion. It rushed for 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns for us. He could have been a selection as well. And then these guys anchor up front. They're moving. JJ play guard for us. He's moving to tackle. JD's moving from center to tackle well for us. Wes Arnold, last year, his first ball game, he will return at center. His first starts versus Fife. We had some injuries and a death in one of our kids' families that happened the day of the game. Congratulations, you're starting against Fife. You get to play against the Wilkes kid. I think he was up for 2A lineman. Congratulations, that's your first start. But those guys are the returners. Landon Watkins is one that transferred to us from Sylvania. He's penciled in to play at one of the wideout positions. We have Isaac Griggs that's played since the 8th grade. He started as an 8th grader. He's rotated different times. He's penciled in, and also another newcomer is Alex Flores. He's only played 1 year of football. But he's penciled in at the other guard position. On the defensive side, we have 8 guys coming back. Grant would have made 9, but we lost him. These guys, JD he's kind of the jack hybrid linebacker. If we're in an odd front, he moves to inside backer. If we're in an even front, he plays defensive end. But he's made over 100 career tackles in his career. JJ's our returning up front guy as well. Seth Hartline's moving up. These guys are rotated. I say we got starters. We got guys that's rotated that are finally getting their chance. Talon Lang's another one that's rotated. Levi Horton's a returning starter inside linebacker. Jet Jeffrey is a returning outside linebacker. And we got some newcomers in Kate Duncan and Brody McBride that's going to have to fill in for where Grant's injury. And then the back end, we've got all the back end back. Fox Tinker's a 4-year guy for us. And then Legion plays the other corner. We got an up-and-coming guy, Caleb Jenkins, that played for us last year as a freshman. Now he's starting to pencil in, push for reps. Jackson Smalley's another one. And my safeties are Jacob and Luke. They play on the offensive side. And then Mason's going to also get reps at on the defensive side at safety. So we have a lot of guys that have experience. That's the thing. When we get our sophomore guys, we try to make them rotational as we can to get them quality reps. It may not be 5 or 6 plays, but, if they're playing 5 or 6 plays as a sophomore, that's going to be value. That's 60 snaps as the game, as the year goes. But we try to get them, if they're ready to play, we try to get them rotational reps, and that's something that I'm trying to plug and play. Because these guys don't get a lot of breaks that are up here. But we're excited about the depth that we have.
Well, good luck, guys. We appreciate you guys being with us today, and we wish the best for the Pisgah Eagles in 2023. Thanks.
Thank y'all for doing this every year. Just being able to get more kids exposure at the high school level. I thank all of y'all for doing this for high school football.